What is up, my friends? CJ Curry here, back with another Prize Picks video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a few different MLB options. But I got to be honest with you, today's board is looking kind of dry. But that's all right. We're going to do our best, try to locate some value here, some options, some good spots, and possibly profit. Hopefully, that's always the goal. But if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me if you don't mind. It's free to do, and I'm dropping videos regularly now that I'm feeling back to my normal self. So yeah, free to subscribe, hit the like button while you're down there, and make sure you jingle that bell, ring that bell, turn on those notifications, because YouTube doesn't do the best job in the world of notifying everybody when I drop a new piece of content, and I don't want you to be like left out in the cold. So definitely hit that bell if you want to be notified anytime new content drops. All right, so we're going to be taking a look at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is my daily fantasy sports DFS pick'em app of choice. This is the one that I always turn to, that I always go to, that gets the majority of my money, my action, and so we're going to be using that today. If you're not playing on Prize Picks yet, use code CJ Curry. Get yourself a 100% instant deposit match or whatever other promotional offer they have going on at the moment. Link down in the description of today's video, and you guys can find links to everything featured in today's video down in the description as well. So like I said, limited MLB slate today, kind of a smaller one. We've got day games, afternoon games, so that's kind of cool, kind of fun, help you get through the workday. But as far as options go, Prize Picks is kind of being stingy here. The last couple of weeks has been quite dry, to be honest. They've been doing a good job of really tightening the screws, soaking up all the value, and so value is harder and harder to come by, which is probably music to the Prize Picks line makers' ears, but not music to our ears. But nonetheless, let's start with the first pick. It's going to be Kutter Crawford. So Kutter Crawford sitting at 5 strikeouts today. He's going up against the Toronto Blue Jays. Kutter Crawford, for me, has been a guy who's been wildly disappointing this season, going under 5 strikeouts in a majority of his games. So I'm going to continue that trend and ride that wave of the under on Kutter Crawford. This is a plus EV play. If you look at EV analytics, you can go out there and check that out. This is a positive expected value play. Speaking of EV analytics, I've got a projection for Kutter Crawford today. Let's head over there now, and I'll pull that projection up for you guys. Kutter Crawford sitting at a projection of 4.52 Ks going up against the Toronto Blue Jays. So 4.52, I mean, that could break either way, right? That could go 4, that could go 5, but it's a far cry from 6. If you get 6 or more strikeouts, well, we're in deep trouble, but I think 5 or less, 5 or fewer is the way that I like going here on Kutter Crawford. As far as a second projection for you, let's head over here to Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs has Kutter Crawford projected for 4.4K. So again, closer to 4 than 5 strikeouts. I just don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of upside for Kutter Crawford. He hasn't shown a whole lot of upside this season. Here's Outlier. You can check them out at outlier.bet, or again, down in the description of today's video, use that link, get a 7-day all-access free trial, and test out Outlier for yourself. It's an all-in-one player prop research tool. Fantastic for doing your own research. But you can see here, Kutter Crawford, over the last like 10 games or so, just really hasn't been the same guy that he was to start the season. I don't know what's going on with him, but as far as him staying at 5 or fewer strikeouts, he's done so in every game, 10 straight games. So who are we to think that today is the day where he snaps out of it? I mean, anything could happen, right? Anything could happen, but for me, I would be leaning toward the under on Kutter Crawford at 5 strikeouts. So that's pick number 1. Now we're going to switch things over to some hitters. We're going to look at some hitter fantasy scores here. But first and foremost, if you're looking for a kick butt community, a Discord group, I've got the Eyes on the Prize Discord that I've created, and it's a part of Dub Club. So you could join my Dub Club. It's as low as 67 cents per day, $5 per week. Very, very affordable. $20 per month, however you want to break it down. And you can get access to all my picks, plays, and parlays. We've got other mods, other cappers in our Discord, dropping picks, plays, parlays, stats, information, help for research, anything that we can do to help one another win more together. So link for the Dub Club, again, is down in the description of today's video. You get access to our VIP Discord, and then you can start your betting journey with us. 3-day free trial if you go and look at the pinned comment down in the comment section below here. But let's take a look at these hitters real quick. This next guy has been red hot lately. I wanted to play him yesterday against the White Sox, and I think today is another good way to play Corey Seager. Corey Seager, you could either go over on the fantasy score, or if you prefer, you could go over on the total bases. Total bases, for those of you who don't know, you have to use your bat to get a total base. So you could hit a double and be over 1.5 total bases in just one swing of the bat, or you could hit 2 singles, you could hit a triple, a home run, a lot of different ways that you can acquire or accrue a total base. So either way, for Corey Seager, over 1.5 total bases or over 8 fantasy score. I kind of don't mind the over on the walks too, with how hot he's been lately, and him going up against Nick Nastrini, I think is the pitcher for the Chicago White Sox today. You could take him for over a walk as well, and I don't really mind that one. I think there might be a little fear going up against Corey Seager today, but Seager should be in another good spot against the pitcher that's on the mound today. But for all intents and purposes, let's just stick with the fantasy score for now, which gives you a lot of different options, a lot of different ways for him to go over. He could do it with hits. He could do it by getting walked. He could do it by hitting home runs. Heck, if he's feeling froggy, he could steal a base and get us some fantasy points as well. So I'm liking the fantasy score for Corey Seager again. Should be a pretty soft matchup today. As far as the projection goes, we're going to go use the BAT. The BAT is the sharpest MLB projection model that I've ever found. And they've got some pretty quality projections. In today's projection, Corey Seager versus Nick Nastrini. He's projected for 11.1 fantasy score. So his number on PrizePicks is 8. He's projected for more than 11. That's a difference of more than 3 fantasy scores. So that's an opportunity for me to say, let's slap the over on Corey Seager. As far as how often he's hit this, only a 39% hit rate. Fantasy score is difficult to hit. But nonetheless, over the last 10 to 20 games or so, he's been doing a lot better job. 60% hit rate. So he's been swinging a pretty hot bat here over the last 10 games. And as you can see, 3 games straight now, doing really well at covering this. He's 2 for 2 against the Chicago White Sox in this series. So that'll be an option for us to take. Moving on to the third pick, we're going to go over to the Phillies and one of their left-handed hitters here, Bryce Harper, who is also heated up, kind of like Corey Seager lately. And again, you could go either which way here. You could go Bryce Harper over hits, runs, and RBIs, or you could go over on his fantasy score. The only reason I'm going fantasy score is because his history against Charlie Morton has shown that he gets walked at a pretty decent clip against Charlie Morton throughout his career. And to further illustrate this point, we could go over here to RotoWire and look at their BVP matchup stats. Batter versus pitcher, and you can see that Bryce Harper has faced Charlie Morton quite a bit in his career. 26 plate appearances or at-bats versus Morton. He's recorded 11 hits. 3 of those have been for extra bases. 1 home run against Morton, so I would kind of quell your expectations as far as him hitting a dinger today against Morton. But he does have 7 RBIs, 10 walks, which was really the eye-catching stat for me and kind of forced me to go fantasy score over anything else. But he does also have 8 strikeouts against Morton, but a 4.23 batting average against Morton, a 1.221 OPS, outstanding numbers against Morton throughout his career here. So for me, Bryce Harper is somebody that is on my radar today. Like I said, he's playing a lot better than he had been previously. So Harper's at 7.5 fantasy score on PrizePicks. Let's go check the projection out for Bryce Harper. We're going to go back to the bat for that. And when we punch in Harper's name, you can see he's projected for about 9 fantasy score today going up against Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton's one of these guys where you just don't know what side of the bed he's going to wake up on. Some days he can come out there and get you upwards of, 8 or 9 strikeouts and minimize some of the damage that he takes. Some days he comes out there and he looks like a punching bag and gets, 4 or 5 strikeouts and gives up 6 or 7 hits. So we never know which Charlie Morton's going to show up on any given day, but for all intents and purposes, Bryce Harper does have pretty good historical numbers against Morton. For those of you who are visual learners, here's Bryce Harper over the season, 44% hit rate of going over 7.5 fantasy score here. So styles make fights. I'm going to keep saying this. Matchups are everything. I don't think you should put too much weight into the hit rates for really anything because so much changes from game to game, from matchup to matchup. But nonetheless, Bryce Harper doing a pretty decent job over the last 10 to 20 games of going over fantasy score, or at least giving you a fighting chance to go over, especially over the last like 5 to 6 games. Swinging a lot better bat here lately. So for me, Bryce Harper would be more over on the fantasy score. And then the last guy, Mookie Betts, another hot bat going up against a pitcher that is not so hot, Cade Povich. Mookie Betts, I like him for more than 7.5 hitter fantasy score. Again, he's been so hot lately that I don't mind the walks. Maybe he gets potentially walked today with how hot he's been swinging the baseball bat. But nonetheless, Mookie Betts and the Dodgers going up against Cade Povich, it should be a pretty darn good matchup. Mookie does a pretty good job, too, at hitting left-handed pitchers. So I don't mind Mookie Betts here at over 7.5 fantasy score. As far as a projection on Mookie Betts goes, we'll go back over to the bat and pull that up for you. I typically look for differentials of like 2 or more fantasy score when it comes to PrizePicks projection versus the bat. In this case, we are getting that with Mookie Betts. 9.91 fantasy score. His line is 7.5 on PrizePicks. So I like what we're seeing here for Mookie Betts, that differential between the PrizePicks line and the bat's projections. As far as the projections for, or the hit rates go for Mookie Betts, you can see 48% of the games in which he's appeared this season, he has gone over. But like I said, a lot hotter lately here. Very good numbers. 4 straight games he's cleared his fantasy score. He does get some upside when it comes to stolen bases, but I mean, he's just been doing a little bit of everything. Home runs, a base steal here or there, and he's just a pretty darn good hitter. But yeah, there's another play for you to consider on what is otherwise relatively a pretty dry PrizePicks board right now. Not a lot of value out there to be had. But those are your 4. We got Cutter Crawford and then the 3 hitters. And yeah, that's about it, guys. I mean, we'll keep this brief. We'll keep it short. And hopefully some of these picks end up hitting. If you're liking them, let me know down in the description below. If you're not liking them, then let me know down in the comment section below why you're not liking them. I love to create dialogue, create conversation. And if there's any other picks, plays, or parlays that you're liking, you can also leave those down in the comment section below. I love to see what you guys are playing each and every day. But until the next video, you guys have a great day. We'll catch you real soon on the next one. Peace.